Alright folks, so this whole Steve Harvey debacle. So you have two versions of the event to me. You have version one, where it was a legitimate human fuck up. From a professional announcer who has read off cards for a long, long time, many years. You have that version. You have version two, and also the card on that version, if you believe that. The card was, I don't think it was to blame, but I'll go into that later. Version 2, it was staged for controversy, as a scripted event. I believe in that one. I believe it's 40-60. I believe you've got a 40% chance of it being a legitimate error, and you've got 60% chance of it being scripted. But you can really believe in either side because there's definitely a lot of evidence for both. Anyway, so version 1, let's go through that first. Version 1, that it was legitimate. Let's go through some things with that. The card, first of all. The card. All right. So a lot of people defend the card, or defend Steve Harvey because of the card, and because it says first runner-up on the left, it says second runner-up above that, and on the right, it says the winner. Some people say that's not a natural reading order. Left to right is pretty natural to me, and he was supposed to read it top to bottom, left to right, so, it makes sense to me. Second runner-up, top left, first runner-up, bottom left, and then on the right, in the huge section, you have the winner. And that's how Americans read. They read, the way he should have read that is top to bottom, left to right. So, anyway, you can also say left to right, top to bottom, but that's not the way the card was laid out. Anyway, I don't think the card was to blame, mostly because he was definitely supposed to read it in a certain order, and also because that the winner's section was just so large. I don't think there's any way to mistake it. That's why I do believe it's just a stunt. But anyway, second, Steve Harvey is a huge professional, and it would take just so much. It would take a huge slip for him to be able to make that kind of error. He reads more complex cards every day on Family Feud, and he reads them pretty much perfectly. I don't think he was capable of making that large of an error for such a perceivably important event. I don't think it's important, but it is to some people. A lot of people don't give a fuck about it, neither do I. But anyway, yeah, that option. I just think his background is too robust for him to have made that kind of error. So this leads me to... Oh, also there's more evidence actually. The models. This is some of the strongest evidence for this one, for it being a real error, in my opinion. The models, it would have been so hard for them all to act on the level of emotion they were displaying. I don't think they could have all done that. I just don't think so. So that's the biggest thing in favor of it being a legitimate error, which it really could have been. I still lean more towards the controversy, but anyway. So, yeah, that's mostly it for version 1. Version 2, that it was scripted, so the card, first of all, pretty ridiculous to mess up on, pretty impossible for Steve Harvey to mess up on that, so that supports this, that it was scripted. What else? Controversy. No one would be talking about this on Reddit. It wouldn't have hit the front page. You wouldn't see headlines about it. You wouldn't see the interviews that are gonna happen after it. You wouldn't be seeing any of that had this not happened. And Steve Harvey, someone else said this, is not my idea, but it does make a lot of sense. Steve Harvey is kind of the perfect man to make this kind of F-up because I don't think too many people take him seriously. He already is under fire from a lot of people. I think he's one of the perfect scapegoats for a thing like this. He does have kind of a comedy thing going for him. It's just, this is actually tough. I think that's Steve Harvey is the perfect disguise for this type of event, because he is the type of person to me, he's the type of person that could make this error. Now, I know that kind of contradicts what I said before about his background not letting him make this kind of mistake, but he's kind of dumb. He is. I mean, he's good at business and stuff and good at marketing himself and all that to kind of a ignorant Christian fan base. But yeah, as a person, I do believe he could make the error. He doesn't seem to display much common sense to me. I actually do like a little bit of his ideas. I don't heavily follow the guy at all, very, very loosely, just from YouTube clips, but I like a little bit of his mojo. I don't like most of his ideas, but anyway. So to me, it was definitely a controversy just because, first of all, Fox had done this before. I don't know what event they did it with, but I think it was like a top model thing or something. They have done this type of thing before. Steve Harvey is a little too perfect of a person for this to happen to, and so I believe it was controversial. Side note, I mean, everybody knows about this tweet, but my God, whether this is scripted or not, that tweet is just the frickin' funniest thing ever, and he deleted it afterwards. He misspelled the people he was apologizing to, Colombians and Philippians. That's just icing on the cake of this whole thing, and that just makes the whole thing to me. Actually, let's just talk about some of this shit, because it's hilarious. Let's just talk about the whole thing. Steve's awkward walk to the stage. I'm just gonna, if I choose to believe that's real, that's just absolutely hilarious. The glances that start going on between the models after Steve starts making some announcements and starts, kind of bumbling on the stage. That part's hilarious. Oh my God, the taking of the crown off. Who could forget that? And the tweet. This is really, really funny. And Miss USA talking to, I believe, the Philippines. I believe so. Anyway. Or maybe Colombia. No, it's Philippines. Whatever, I forget. I haven't watched it. Anyway. God damn it, I'm gonna have to edit this up. Anyway, yeah, the whole thing was very entertaining, regardless of whether it's real or not. So, yeah, I think I've pretty much said my piece on this. What else? I don't think there's really much more you can say about it. I think that's it. The whole thing in general, Miss Universe. I mean, what are my thoughts about it? I don't really think it matters. I'm glad it has some impact to some families and some people and stuff. I've got to imagine it's mostly a women demographic, because there's a lot of, oh, me, kind of self-loving, narcissistic stuff, and I'm sure, women like to identify with that or observe it from a distance, whatever you want to say, self-insert maybe. I don't think it has much impact. It has a little bit of cultural impact, because some people's national pride, a bit of it anyway, relies on the winner. So that actually ties back to Steve Harvey, and actually, no, it ties back to either Steve Harvey or Fox Studios, or both, depending on if this was scripted or real. However this was decided, however it happened, the result remains the same, that they still impacted a lot of individuals. They still toyed with a lot of emotions. Do I think it's life damaging? No, it shouldn't be for anybody at all. I think it's something people can move past pretty easily. They may have had, initial really harsh reaction to it, and it was obviously really horrible for the first runner-up, but I don't think it's she's the person I feel the most sorry for. I don't really feel sorry for the viewers that invested or anything. My question to you is, why were you invested? Why does this matter about your national pride? And, anyway, if it helps you, that's great, but I just don't think you should be too invested into something like that. Anyway, those are my thoughts about it. I believe version 2, that it was a controversy. Alright, you have an excellent day. Bye.